dudes of 4 varying beard lengths. Show.
I did think that as I came in.
It's a progression of homelessness. It's how it is.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, you're the one living in Mexico, Dino. So.
Living in Mexico. All right.
I'm on the run, baby.
Welcome to Generation Dan, the show about generational differences. I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your millennial. Who else is here?
I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel. I'm currently in Mexico, possibly on the run. Who knows?
And I'm Cole Clayton, and Dino is just staking out a place for me for when things go awry.
Oh my God! So. Our guest today is Manny Man Does History. It's John D Ruddy. How are you, man?
Hello. How are we doing?
You finished your renovations from the last episode you were on.
Yes, well, slightly more than what I've been at before. My office space it's a little bit cluttered, but it's getting there.
Are you Irish?
I am Irish, yeah.
Holy shit! Nobody told me I was going to be talking to an Irish person today.
Last few times I've been on here, you would have realized that I was Irish.
You've been on here before?
Yes.
Twice.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like, John, you should have a collection of very fancy pipes somewhere on a shelf in your place. It feels like it would go with the decor. I love it.
It totally would. I mean, I have a pipe somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it is, but I'm sure it's somewhere.
It's a good point.
Add to that. Funnily enough, I was thinking of that. A friend of mine, he sells really nice fancy pipes. They're like $50 a pipe, and I was like,
I have one out of from an olive tree that's Greek, and it's like all gnarly and cool. And I have a functioning replica of Gandalf's pipe. It's like a foot long, and I'm like, it actually fits in the staff too if you get the full staff. And I'm like, yes, of course. Oh, really tempted.
Okay, now when you smoke weed out of the Gandalf's pipe, do you start singing the $5 foot long thing from the Subway commercials, but it's however much the weed was?
It depends on if I'm wearing pants, to be honest.
Yeah, $12 foot long.
You guys wear pants?
It's very hot in Mexico. It's a tough one.
I'll be honest. I'm in pajama pants right now. It's noon when we're recording this.
Joey Edibles has been commenting before because he had to take his daughter to the mall. So,
I like how he just kind of put a bunch in advance.
It was like 2:00. It was an hour early. He's like, I'm putting these now. Got to get them in. I love it. Fantastic.
God bless Joey Edibles.
Yeah, I told him we were going live here in a little bit. He went crazy after that.
Looks like Baker Mayfield in the thumb. What does that even mean?
I don't know. Who's Baker Mayfield?
I don't know either.
An old Browns quarterback.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I think Atlas in sports, that's a cool comment.
I was good at sports.
I'm the only one here out of all 4 of us that even knows what the fuck football is. American football, I might add. Everybody else would be like, "Oh,
football."
Exactly. Listen. At least everyone else has the balls to admit it that it's a real. Other things are real sports. Football, they admitted today or this week that is deemed an entertainment, not a sport, so they can.
Oh, we've been knowing that. They've been knowing that.
Same with the NBA as well.
Pro wrestling?
No, NFL, like football, like American football. Yeah.
No, but in the same way as
same way, yes. Yeah. Now it's not. The players don't fake it like wrestlers do. It's more like the games are controlled by referees. So, like, that's when you see a bogus flag, you're like, okay, I know what the fuck is going on here. I got 7-1 odds on my $50 bet, and y'all are fucking me out of it. That's what's happening.
Is this like when Fox News got taken to court for misinformation or something, and then they're like, well, technically we're entertainment.
We're entertainment, exactly. Yeah. So that they can't get sued for hedging bets or whatever.
Okay, when do you guys think that changed? Because, like, I remember when I was young, the news, number one, boring as hell, but very informative and very non-opinionated. Factual, this is what's happening. It could lead to this. This is historical. This is what's happened. Boring as shit, hard to watch, but factual. Now it's like, what might happen? You're like, I don't think that's how news works. But when you guys think about it?
I would talk to my mom about this, and she's a little older, you know. I think she's like 47, so it's like a little older than you. And And she said that she noticed, like, in like the late 80s, people went from, like, the news anchors went from telling the news to like putting like attitude or like stank on shit. You know what I mean? That's when it started. It just kind of like became a whole different thing eventually over the 90s.
Truth be told, there was a lot of stink hanging out in the 80s. So the fact that it would get attributed to other places is pretty reasonable.
The Fairness Doctrine
You could
from
smell nothing from all
1949
the
to
coke, so everything had to be
1987.
stinkier, you know? Like, ooh, that Parmesan, you know, everybody's getting nosebleeds from the cartilage being eaten by the gasoline that cuts coke.
That got worse the more words he said.
So worse.
It really did.
I just love watching John's face where he's like, "Oh, this guy's crazy." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is always an interesting one though, because like I mean, I've been kind of looking at that a little bit, kind of through my history videos and stuff, where kind of trying to see where some of those changes happened. And yeah, you're right with regards a lot of kind of 1980s Reaganism, where it became more about and so many. I always sound like a broken record, but so many of today's problems stem back.
Ronald Reagan? I agree with you 100%.
And you know, just with regards at a basic level, this whole bullshit of hey, just let the corporations do whatever they want, and everything else will find its own balance. It's like, no, it won't. It won't
Trickle down. Yeah, if they let it trickle, they just stockpile.
It's
Like bank accounts.
You know, there were stories from the Dark Ages of dragons that hoarded gold. We were aware of this tendency.
That's like look, every story you hear about that hoarding of wealth and stuff has never gone good. Always resulted in pain and something. Like, okay, so we have an example, a clear-cut example of every time bad stuff happened. They're like, what we got to do, we're going to duplicate it and spread it out. You're like, that's a worse idea. 100%.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I mean, because and you can see as well, because this time last year I did a video on Watergate, which is a lot of fun to try and unravel.
I love that video, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. It was yeah. I kind of had to go down a rabbit hole in doing it because I had to really understand where all the connections were, and as I was kind of illustrating it, I was like,
bro, you got a library right behind you. You didn't need to go into a rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But I'll go find one outside. But I found it was interesting just the way that the news reported on it. And basically at the time of Watergate, there were like 3 news channels. They weren't even news channels. They were channels.
It was CBS, ABC, NBC, right? Those are the 3.
Yeah.
And it was them who were basically, it was once the what do you call them, Woodward and
Bernstein,
thank you, who kind of started to really publicly uncover a lot of that stuff. Because initially a lot of the media kind of left it to the side. You know, they're like, there was a break-in or something, but it was them guys who connected all the dots that brought it to the president, and then they released the book going, this is really big. And that really changed a lot of public opinion on things. And there was kind of, once Watergate was over, and you had, I can't think of his name, but he was basically one of the first guys in charge, Roger Ailes, who was put in charge of Fox News. Yeah. He had worked for Nixon in the kind of media department, and then he was like, right, he learned from that, and then going into the 1980s with Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, he was like, right, this is what we say, this is what we don't say. And it was around that time then that you start getting that Southern strategy of let's not say controversial things. We'll say, you know, we'll not be directly racist. We'll just say thugs and urban areas, and people will know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And during that time, then basically once news became more and more profitable, then it was just like, you know, when profit dictates something like that, you can't be balanced, or you can't be like, it's ridiculous.
I
You know what
love
the craziest part about that too is when you say thugs and urban people and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, it's just me. Like it's like they're like a thug robbed a liquor store today, and it's just my face in like the camera. Like I'm gonna get away with it because I'm white. Like
We live in a society, man.
I love that you put it that way, John, specifically because even right now, there's a whole controversy happening in Canada where for the longest time, the government has subsidized a lot of farm products such as dairy and eggs and things like that. Now, because they are subsidizing it, if they don't follow instructions, they will lose their subsidy and that could destroy them. So currently, there are a lot of dairy farmers who are literally pouring out tens of thousands of liters of milk because the government said you produce too much, and prices have doubled in the last few months for milk and eggs, like everywhere else.
they're like $5 a dozen, which I don't know what that is in Irish currency and Canadian currency and pesos, but I know it's like 13 pesos for a dozen, and it's like I don't know, like 20 euros, like whatever, give or take, so I'm just talking shit. I have no idea.
But the thing is this: you're going if you become reliant on that system, then you're now controlling the market, which is absolutely illegal in every country. Of market manipulation is a chargeable offense. However, governments are now doing it, and you're going, hey, that's a distinct good enough for me, but not for thee kind of situation, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tricky balancing act, and I mean, I don't think anybody's kind of done it perfectly. I mean, I do think that there should certainly be regulation on a lot of things, particularly with corporations, but say even with food production and stuff, because capitalism is just so wasteful. Like the basic idea that any food that is not sold is then destroyed, or sometimes it goes to food banks, but more often than not, it ends up in the garbage. And
which is insane.
Or even worse, the garbage that they then chain shut because we can't have fucking people dumpster diving.
And it's just so inhumane because they were like, well, I mean, they can't get it for free. It's like, but why not? You're pointing out how how you're manipulating the value and price of this by creating false scarcity, by dumping it at the end. When the people who can't afford to buy it, like it's just I hate the profit above people. It's just ridiculous and it's so frustrating.
Well, that's the really great thing. Like, I'll be honest with you, John, I love your content. I really appreciate that you start to do the reels in short doses because I'm still an idiot, so I can't handle too long of a time of actual knowledge, right? So the little bursts help, but the one of the huge things I know from my childhood was my dad was like, listen, if it's probably happened before, how did they deal with it? If you know that, you're instantly miles ahead because it's just an example. It may not be perfect, but it's close enough where you're going, hey, I have just a hair ahead that maybe this time I won't fuck my life over, And then you're saying, going, hold on. So like there was an article about billionaires like Henry Ford and stuff like that, where they amongst themselves would criticize each other. Like, I heard your workers are on food stamps. What kind of piece of garbage are you? And you're like, so they were holding themselves accountable, which if you look at now, I love this saying, and I've used it on stage a couple of times, was people were like, I'm going to hold myself personally accountable. You're like, that doesn't mean the same thing anymore. It's baloney,
Yeah.
God. So the supposed topic of the episode is first time for everything, and that was a great start with the Watergate thing. Why don't we ask John some questions and then get more into that? Because I have a couple, like, what was your first time with blank stuff? Yeah.
Okay.
I got a few answers.
Oh yeah, this will be fun. So starting off here while Dino finds it, what is an embarrassing song from your playlist? What the fuck is going on over there?
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
An embarrassing song from my playlist. So what have I been listening to? Oh, actually, I was literally listening to it before coming on here. So last time I said Phantom of the Opera, and the time before I said Neil Cicierrega's Madness.
Yes.
But this week, so it's a combination of two songs actually. I'm going to go for a two for here.
Okay.
One is Styx, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Nice.
It's a song I was never into, but like literally about 2 weeks ago, I had these flashbacks to it was a lip sync battle between Jimmy Fallon and what do you call her, Emma Stone, and I hate Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I hate
He
him.
loves his little jokes.
That's all I hear from him.
Yeah.
But he did his lip sync to Domo Arigato, and it was just this, secret, I got a secret. And I just started listening to it, and I kept listening to it, and I'm like, oh shit, this song is now growing on me. It's so cheesy. Absolute cheese on toast. But the other song, which has kind of dominated my listening since Christmas, it's a classic. Starship, We Built This City on Rock and or Roll.
Yeah, but that's a great song.
And where this has come from with why because I've always had, again, sort of like Domo Arigato, I've had a kind of a love-hate relationship with the song where I'm kind of like, I don't know if I love this or hate it. And because that's what a love-hate relationship is, John. Well done. But with We Built This City, I sent a couple of a little peek of it, was the Lord of the Rings silly cut. I recut I do this every so often where I get usually around Christmas when I have a couple of days off and I'm like, I edit for work. Now I'm going to edit for fun. I did it when I was 16 where I edited them on a videotape where I played the DVDs through the video player and started and stop it.
Oh my God.
And I still have the tape somewhere actually. But that was the Lazy Boy cut where I took all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, condensed them into one 3-hour movie. But
Thank God. Somebody needed to do that.
Well,
I'll be back in 1 second, guys. Sorry.
Sure.
Okay, keep going.
Well, this time I decided to condense them, or just to kind of chop them down and put in a whole pile of completely just stupid random stuff.
More interesting stuff, right?
Or just playing about with the tension of it, or playing about like the scene where they come in, where the goblins come running into Balin's tomb in Moria, and all the Fellowship are there waiting, and they block up all the doors, and they're banging against the doors, and they're like, oh, they have a cave troll and all of that. Let them come. There's one dwarf yet in Moria who still draws breath, and all of that, is really building up. Whereas what I do, literally, they go block off the door, stand back, and instantly, poof, the door busts open. Shit like that, where all of this tension in the original cut, and it's just nope, we're here. But then on top of that, I started just adding in random pop culture references. So as the cave troll comes running in, you just hear echoey in the background. You'd almost miss it. Leroy Jenkins.
Oh my God.
But with We Built This City, it's the bit where Saruman has turned to the dark side, and he is and he's sitting there. The wee goblins come into him, and they're like, what orders from Mordor, my lord? What does the eye command? And he just looks at him. We have work to do. We built this city. And there's an entire, we built this city on rock and roll. There's an entire montage of them renovating Isengard. The trees are strong, Lord. The roots go deep. Rip them all down. Maybe you're lonely. And it's and Saruman's walking around all the furnaces and forges of Isengard, and it's Marconi plays the mama, listen to the radio. It's ridiculous. And so then for the rest of the movie, it becomes a running gag. Anytime Isengard show up, even if it's just one soldier, you'll hear it, Marconi plays the mama. Or whenever the whole army is leaving Isengard and Merry and Pippin are on top of Treebeard, and they're like, "Look, it's Saruman's army," and you just hear it in the distance, you know. And it's so much so it gets to spoilers when they kill off Saruman at the end, and Grima stabs him on the back, and he falls, and I put it into slow motion. We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. So there's 4 hours of that shit.
Oh my God. 4 hours?
I mean, not of built this city, but there are 4 hours of that type of stupid ass humor.
Got it.
Like,
My mom used to be a film editor. I feel like if I show her that whole clip of you explaining it, she would either be incredibly proud that that's the new generation of editors, or be like, "What hath science wrought? Empires fall and turn to ash in our hands. I edited Bull Durham. What did you do?" You know.
Oh God, yeah, no, it was three intense days that I could give myself carpal tunnel. Just
oh my God,
you know, just click because I was like I was on a tight schedule because I had to get back to actual work and not this stupid shit. But I was like, I need to finish it. But no, it is a lot, and it works as this kind of lovely standalone movie too, in a really kind of weird way, because you know it's made from a place of love, because you know I don't know if you know this, but I love Lord of the Rings. Those 3 shelves there, they're all Tolkien. Wow. All 3 of those shelves. Good and Lord. He kind of leaks onto that one, and there's a couple of Tolkien DVDs floating in there somewhere as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm a big fan. And so it was so easy to do that, or to edit it, because I know all of those films inside out, that I instantly knew the choices that I wanted to make. And then I'd throw in some random little references to The Hobbit as well. And because we have the clips from The Hobbit now. And so when Frodo meets Bilbo in Rivendell, and Bilbo's like, I wanted to go back under the paths of Mirkwood. Cut to Bilbo murdering this little spider. This is Lake Town again. Have him be pulled up out of the water through a toilet. Visit the lonely mountain again. And then he's just lying there beside dead Thorin. But age, it seems, has finally caught up with me. It's just all those tonal
smash cuts are the fucking best. I don't know what I love. Maybe it's just the fact that Family Guy was in its super heyday when I was starting to develop more of a sense of humor. That it's just a smash cut to something will fucking have me rolling every time.
Yeah. And then what were some of the other ones? There's too many of them. But then I suppose kind of as I got towards the end, I was also wanting to maintain the sincerity of the ending, because I was like, I can't, I don't want to finish this completely ridiculous, but also I wanted to be a relatively manageable length.
Yeah.
And so it does come in. It is around the same length as the Return of the King extended cut. So it's it is still manageable by Lord of the Rings fan standards. Whenever fucking Gron shows up, the big giant fucking what do you call it? The battering ram, giant wolf's head. Whenever they're like, "Oh, we can't break down the door, nothing will breach it." Gron will breach it, and then rock you like a hurricane. Do 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 do, and they're all saying, Gron. And I've timed it so that sort of sped it up so that they're now doing it in time with the music. Grand, and shit like that. But towards the end, I was like, how do I finish this? Because I'd gotten the ring was destroyed and all of that, and then there's that famous 20-minute epilogue, and I was like, right, I need to wrap this up. How do I do this while also maintaining a little bit of nice sincerity and closure on this film, but also what do I do? And so I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to make so two of the ways that I finish it is that scene where Frodo wakes up in the bed and Gandalf's in front of him. They're all just sitting there laughing at each other. All the characters are coming in, they're like, oh, Merry Pippin, oh, Gimli. And then Legolas walks in and he's like, I have no idea what your name is. Aragorn! Watch it. He does that. He's like, oh, shit, I can't think of your name. Aragorn, there you are. And he's like, yeah.
I have definitely done that before. Where you're like, hey,
guy,
dude, yeah.
Friend, chum.
Yeah. But so for that scene, as kind of a little kind of celebration of Lord of the Rings, I got clips of all 11 Oscar announcements when Return of the King won. And so as they're like smiling and laughing, all of the different awards, for best lighting, Return of the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and it's just all 11 clips going all around them. But then when Sam shows up at the end and he looks across, I just have turn. Is the birds? Yeah, the birds. Down, down. Down to everything, turn. And so the last 20 minutes of the movie is condensed into a montage to the music of the birds, turn. And it's fucking great. And then just at the very end, Sam walks into his wee thing. Well, I'm back. Closes the door. And then the credits roll. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. And it's just like, yes.
There are some like 80s bands where like you can, even though they were metal bands, they just are so
true,
like hokey. Styx being a good example, right? Like even Renegade, which is supposed to be like, I'm on the gallows, I'm about to die. The jig is up, the news is out, they finally found me. Like, just it's.
There are so many bands like that, though. Like whenever you, like when you look at their name or their image, you're like, oh wow, these guys are going to be hardcore, and then you actually hear them. It's like, I mean, even don't get me wrong, I love Kiss, but like.
Sure.
Just the look of Kiss, you expect something like really edgy coming out of these guys. And then, I know a thing or two about her. And it's just like, okay.
Hey, that's the best when people are like, oh, the Kiss wasn't real music, the Carpenters, and you're like, they're the same. They're all not hardcore. I'll tell you that right now. Not one of them. Not one of them is hardcore.
Yeah. Although, then, who's the one? Is it Molly Dagger? Is it Molly Daggers, I think, is... No, oh god. I think it's Molly Daggers. They have like the most epic album covers, like this out of like a Warhammer, box where it's just these epic battles and stuff. And like, this is really cool. And like, and then they start into the music. Oh no, like the actual music itself, it's class. And then the guys start singing, and it's like. They got this dude from a country western band, and he's like, and it's like, oh lad, where'd they get you from?
Everything Rush ever did is like, God, like them doing all the 70s metal stuff, and then Geddy starts singing, and you're like, no, Geddy.
Yeah, that's so true.
You can't.
If anyone's playing Generation Dan Bingo, Atlas did mention Rush, so that's also
check it out, guys.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes. It was my wife's. Is like an uncle. You know those uncles and aunts that you have. They're not actually related, but they're just a family friend. But it's
Yeah, you call them uncle, whatever.
He. I was talking to him. He used to do some radio DJing in Canada. And I was saying to him, one of my friends is like the biggest Rush fan. And he just leans into me and he says, every Rush fan
says they're the biggest Rush fan.
Every Rush fan is the biggest Rush fan. I was like, that's so true. That's
kind of true. Although Katie challenged me to, she's like, I bet you can't like find a Rush song to play during our wedding that will fit. Because it's not good for like a wedding. It's headphones and a beanbag chair somewhere,
You mean you didn't play 2112?
Why? How would that fit? I decided on Time Stands Still because you can play that during cocktail hour, and it's probably going to fit somewhere. You know,
we any time I am traveling, because I did not realize this is where the name came from. But anytime I'm traveling through Toronto Airport now, and I just YYZ, my entire journey through that friggin' thing. And I go through the entire song.
It's my alarm
clock. That song when I'm on the movator. I'm just like through the YYZ like it's Mario Kart.
Yeah. That was Guitar Hero 2 for me. Introduced me to that song.
I had to go. I came back to Leroy Jenkins, and I'm like, well, this is the perfect time for me to show up. Great.
Oh.
Nice. Yeah. Or no, although you mentioned alarm clocks, one of my alarm clocks for years. And speaking of which, because we're only a couple of days after it was the alarm clock from Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah.
And so
I got you, babe. Yeah.
Hold on, actually, I still have it here, and I know it just completely off by heart because it has woken me up so much. Let's see, is it able to just find it quickly? Not. Somebody say something. I'll find it.
Okay.
Something.
And
Pulp Fiction style, bitch.
I found it, dickhead. And it actually vibrates to this.
There it is. Yeah.
But it has the radio.
Oh, it sounds like. Oh, dang. That's.
Birds, rise and shine, and don't forget
I
your
fucking love Cher. She's my bitch, yo.
What is this, Miami Beach? Not hardly. Yeah, we can expect hazardous travel from that blizzard thing. Oh,
holy shit! I thought it was just the song.
Oh no! Here's the report: the National Weather Service is calling for a big blizzard thing. But there is another reason why people are especially excited, especially cold. The big question on everybody's lips, their chap lips, is Phil gonna see a shadow? Punxsutawney Phil. That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day. Yeah, you caught me in a good mood this evening.
I heard my name in there somewhere, but I don't know what it was in reference to.
The best part about this is John is just giving Cole some of his own medicine because Cole will just go, and I just love how Cole's like, "Oh, I'm a bastard for this." And he's like, "Yes, that's it." Because John's awesome. It's fantastic.
That's Irish love, though, you know. So someone back in the bollocks, you just send it right back.
That's what matters.
I mean, I'm real good at disassociating. My mom used to just yell at me for 48 hours straight. So, like,
I think that's just being American. Is that just?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't see nothing. Okay. Yeah. This is America. No.
Let's let's ask him another question.
I'm an adult. You can't stop me. We had that a few times, and realistically, I feel like John's answer when he took those kids was it to. Yeah, that was epic. Maybe we skip that one this time.
Yeah,
how about I need an adultier adult?
Okay, so what is the question then?
What was the time you felt like out of your depth?
Well, I mean, right now I just paid a really big tax bill.
Oh shit, that sucks.
There's that. But
you pay taxes?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I don't want to get stung by the tax man when they finally do.
Oh, that's right. Y'all don't have black people in Ireland, so they'd be going after the white people there.
What?
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
There's one for you, 19 for me. Yeah.
Anyway, right now my darling wife is expecting our first child.
Oh, congrats!
Due in April. So right now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I am thoroughly excited about this, and it's going to be great. But on top of all of that, I'm really nervous, really, apprehensive, and just am I going to mess up this child's life? If anything, they're going to know a lot of random shit about history and everything else. But no, I mean, myself and Roxy, we're kind of like, I mean, if they're a combination of me and you, they're going to be so weird. So yeah, they don't really stand a chance. But
what if they go into their rebellious phase and they like play sports or whatever?
I have thought of that. I'm like, what if they get like super into football or something? I'm like, am I gonna have to go to football game? I don't think I've ever. I might have been when I was a kid, but I have never in my adult life been to a football game. I have been to one rugby match, and I enjoy rugby, but I've only ever actually been to one in real life once. And I've been to one hockey game because my wife was like, I'm Canadian, we need to go to a hockey game. there's one hockey team in Belfast, the Belfast Giants. So we went to a hockey game and I loved it. I'll definitely go back, but I'm just like, cool, yeah, whatever.
I feel like
let me tell you something. Let me give you some advice real quick. Okay, I have a 7-year-old son. All right, I learned this past year actually to just never push your child into doing something they are absolutely not interested in. Okay, because I tried to make I'm a big sports guy. I played basketball all through my years. And I tried getting him into basketball because he's a similar size and weight and all that stuff as I am, like when I was his age. And that was the worst experience of my life, trying to watch him play basketball, not wanting to, and also not having any skill whatsoever. I was just like, Jesus Christ, I agree with you now. But you don't have to play if you don't want to.
Yeah. Maybe were you actually as bad as that and you just didn't realize it?
No, I was very good at basketball. It was like people were like let down that I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
Like,
But like realistically, that's the only fate, John, for like it's he's gonna be some sports like wizard, and they'll be like, and his dad, a private historian. You're like, Jesus, what? That seems,
that's why it's weird when you get like when you watch sports and there's these families that have like the grandfather and the father and the son, they're all just decorated Hall of Fame. You're like, how did that happen? How?
Yeah.
Like,
well, let's be honest. Cole's son is definitely going to become an accountant or something.
Bro, he is stupid good at math for a first grader. He's doing shit that like I can't do now, which I mean is like counting to 10, but still, like he's really good at counting to 10.
Okay.
Does they have good? Well, you've got ordinality, cardinality, one-to-one correspondence. All of that. I studied education back in the day. So like when you're counting from 1 to 10 and you're watching how kids are learning, you're like, right, well, first of all, do they have nominality? Do they, can they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And ordinality, are they doing it in the right order? But then one-to-one correspondence. So if they're counting a whole pile of things, are they going 1, 2, 3, 4? Or are they going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? And then cardinality. Do they know that the last number that they count is what that amount is? It's like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of them, because you'll still get some kids who'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many are there? 16. I don't know.
I think you just described me, man.
My camera has gone all blurry. It's just taking a weird focus. And I don't know why. And
I feel like I'm going to buy your camera and keep mine.
That's what it looks like when I zone out.
In general. Like,
when he's driving, all sorts of stuff.
Bro, all the time when I'm driving, especially when I'm driving. If I'm in the car more than 12 minutes, I'm just home all of a sudden.
Yeah, well.
What are those three? What are those 3 mangled bodies in your car? I don't know. I went through the drive-through.
I drove through.
They don't have In-N-Out here. I was pissed.
Come to LA. I'll take you in.
Hell yeah.
All right. So now I just have to ask. So the first one is easy for all you guys, which is what was your first kiss like? And with who, if you want to say the name. But
it was at a club. It was an all ages club. I met this girl, Jen, and we had a kiss. I tried to put my hand down her pants, and then I never saw her again. That was it.
Okay, so you went. How old were you?
15, 16. I still looked like this, but I was very young.
Just a little less gray.
Yeah, times were just hard in the 80s, huh?
Oh man.
It was all ages, but we were all still fucking drunk.
Yeah,
as shit.
I got that, but like, okay.
She came up to me. I didn't approach. Like it was. She was like, I wanted to meet you, introduced from a friend, and I was like, all right. And
you weren't trying from like the second the puberty fairy hit you that you were like, I have to kiss somebody.
I've been fat my whole life, man. I just assumed I'm like, listen, I need to be rich. That's my game here. I don't,
How's that working out for you?
Awesome. I got an Asian man with big tits. It's been fantastic. I'll tell you.
That's a thing.
That has happened in my life. It's just I like to rub it in people's faces all the time.
You bought her tits because I know she didn't have real big tits.
That's the scary part. They were natural. It's like, hold on, I got a unicorn, and I've been married twice. This face, both times, easily. I don't know.
Something about that Canadian bacon up there, man.
It's definitely not that. I'll tell you that.
John, how about you? What was your first kiss like?
My first kiss was lovely. I was so nervous. I'll not go into all that much detail because I don't kiss and tell entirely. And it's like I was like 14, but it was lovely. It was under a bridge in a city I'd never been in before. And
did she have to answer your questions 3?
No.
Was it where you did some blood?
No. We'd gone for a lovely walk, and I mean, we knew each other before. Like we'd been pen pals back in the day. This is like the tail end of pen pals.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Oh God, he's
Cole. Yeah. No, bad Cole.
But no, so we'd gone for a lovely walk around and seen some stuff, and we'd indicated in the kind of letters leading up to us meeting up was that we might kiss, and but of course because I'd never kissed someone before. Well, a friend of mine had briefly basically kind of for want of a better term, given me a demonstration where she was like, yeah, no, this is what it's like. I was like, all right, cool, that's great. So like that was the kind of unofficial first one, but then the actual one for we'd gone the whole way kind of wandering around, and I hadn't made a move. I hadn't, like, but partially as a gentleman, but partially I was just super nervous. I was like, didn't know what to do. And so towards the end, she was just like, here, will we do that? And I was like, well, I'm kind of shy, and she's like, yeah, well, I'm not, and she said, and we kissed, and it was adorable.
Johnny was such a romantic.
It was a lovely. It was. I'm really glad. That first kiss was lovely. It was with someone. Like I'm still in touch with it. I'm in touch with a lot of former lady friends.
Me too.
And like we were like 14, 13, 14, about 14. But no, it was lovely. It was lovely, and it was funny because I was back in that city for the first time since then, years and years and years later. Like it's maybe about 5 years ago, and I was walking past that bridge, and I just took a picture of the bridge and I sent it to her, just with zero explanation, just a picture of the bridge, and she was like, yeah.
She got the reference. That's good.
Yeah.
It'd be worse if she didn't, though, right? Like,
what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
She's like,
no. It was lovely. It was lovely.
That's cool.
Now,
the moment we've all
go ahead. I want to hear yours, Atlas.
All right.
From a
so,
lovely story.
all right. So I was about, I think 13 or 14, and I was in group therapy at the time, and somebody from the group therapy asked me out, uh, and then we went on a date where we
I didn't
walked
even
up
know
and-
you were sober.
No, this was for like not drugs. This was just my parents are dicks group therapy, that kind of group therapy.
This was the first time before the drugs. Is that
Yeah. Yeah. No, so we were walking up and down the 3rd Street Promenade, and then I didn't have the courage to do anything, and like John. And then at the end, she was like, "Okay, I'll see you," and then came running back, kissed me, and then ran off again. I was like, okay. And then my mom texted me. She was like, "I'm around the corner. I saw it." I'm like, "Fuck!"
Lovely. Love it.
So real Pyrrhic victory, that one. Yeah.
Well,
Cole,
like, what was
about
your
you?
mom's attitude towards it? Was it like a ooh, I saw that, or was it I saw that?
Oh no, it was the first one. It was like I saw it like that.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you, Cole? He looks sad.
Cameron DeWans. That was her name. I know, it's surprising.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
She to make Dino feel old again, the first thing she ever said to me is, "Who are you?" I was like, "I'm Clay," because that's my real name. And she said, "Well, add me to Facebook." And then we proceeded to make out. And this is the girl I lost my virginity to in the woods. And I have been just infatuated, like it's an obsession / addiction with whores the whole last 13 years now. So gotta love her. I hit her up not too long ago. She's married and has kids. I was sad to hear that because she lives in Minneapolis now, which isn't that far for me.
It is amazing how formative a lot of those like early experiences can be, and how they shape kind of what you're
detrimental. Yeah,
it is. But I do always kind of find that fascinating, where and like you kind of look back the older you get, and you look back as the back gets further and further back. And you see the patterns, and you see the types, and you're just like, wow, like for me, big massive things, foreigners, anyone who's not Irish. I could probably count in one hand the amount of Irish people I have been with or even kissed, but almost everybody else was not from Ireland. And my wife, she's Canadian, so there you go. QED.
It's Dino in a
That's
dress.
interesting you say that, because I'm from Texas, okay, and I've never had any kind of relationship, romantic wise, with anybody from Texas. This is the weirdest thing. Weirdest fucking thing. I've only dated like people who are from other places.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then I ended up moving eventually to Ohio.
I wonder if that's a normal thing though, like where people like there's always the idea of like right now I'm in Mexico, but I'm not in a tourist area, so it's like okay, it's just living in another country. It's not the same thing, right? So in the same fashion, like I feel like that's kind of one of those parts where we don't really realize that like we make it a huge thing when you're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like people from around here, no, I don't want to, I hate this area, I want something else, right? So it's just like there's an abundance of that. You're like, no, I want something there isn't an abundance of.
Yeah.
For me, I like growing up in the South, I kind of stick out, and down south you have to like conform. You have to be religious. You have to like be about like getting a roughneck job and knocking your girlfriend up right away and having this family shit. That's just not about who I am at all. You know what I mean? And women down there don't like that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm in Ohio now, and having a kid not being married is not that abnormal.
Yeah.
So
right? It's not the knocking up women that's the issue. It's the regular job.
Yeah, I
parts.
was perfectly fine with knocking up women. It was just the marrying of them part was the issue I had. So
Absolutely. Well, listen, that's definitely
you got pregnant, not me. We're not getting married. What the fuck? That's your fault. Dumb bitch.
Whereas like in Ireland, it's almost like because the population's so much smaller, that's well, first of all, everyone's inbred. I did one of the I did one of those DNA things, my heritage, and it was like 100%, not only 100% Irish, 100% Northwest of Ireland.
Oh my god,
bro! Yeah, you definitely need to marry a Canadian. You definitely need to outsource some of those genes, bro.
I just love the idea, or like
break up the monotony.
Yeah.
Hashtag Habsburgs or something.
Well, Conan O'Brien has the same thing. They were like,
that's not an Irish accent. That's just like the cleft lip kind of coming out.
Bro, but that's Conan had the same thing. He's like, yeah, no, you're 100% Irish. That's a not good thing.
Catherine Ryan as well. She's a Canadian.
Catherine Ryan, right?
Yeah.
She put that in the comedy.
Irish as well.
But that's that's the crazy part where you're like, you think you're like, oh, I'm 100% Irish. You're like, no, that's a bad thing. That's it. You're like,
But like, although
especially the islands like this fucking big, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to put it into context of say California, you can fit Ireland between LA and San Francisco.
Wow. That's
with room. You could jiggle it in that space, right?
That's like a 6-hour drive for the whole.
It's like the size of my dick. What the fuck?
And on the island itself, there is what's it now? It's coming up on maybe about I think 7.5 million on the whole island.
Jesus Christ! Why are there so many people on that island? Holy fuck!
Yeah, I mean it was 8 million back in 1845, and then the potato famine halved it.
Oh my god!
In about 40 years,
which is even worse. That means that y'all built your numbers up off of that 4 million.
Fucking corn laws.
Not like with the thing with Ireland as well is like there is you kind of know everybody, and not even literally, but like everybody goes to the same secondary school, high school, the secondary school, and everybody, all their brother plays for the county on the GAA, and everybody, like there's all the same stories. And I suppose I was just always more interested in something different than that, and something more that, and to be like, that's not to take away from the Irish story in that way, but I was just always, interested in kind of something more than that. But like, I was proving this point. I was down in Cork, which is like down the other end of the country. So actually, I have a map right here. So up here is Donegal. This is where I'm from, and down here is Cork. And so I was in Cork, and I'd met, funnily enough, it was a German lady who I was meeting, and they
know their way around a penis.
Anyways. And I was chatting to her, and I was basically saying how pretty much in Ireland, we're pretty much just 1 degree of separation from anybody else on the island. Like if you speak to an Irish person long enough, you'll find someone in common. And she was like, right, well, fine. And we'll pick some random person in this pub. And I was like, right, cool. So I went over to a guy, and I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm just trying to prove a point here. What do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a lighting technician. I was like, all right, cool. So you probably know a whole pile of lighting technicians around the country. He's like, yeah. Do you know Niall Cranny up in Donegal? Oh, yeah, I know Niall. I was like, really? 30, 40 seconds it took me to find one person in common. He's like, I know Niall, surely.
That's so weird to me, because there's so many people in LA in the comedy scene who are like, do you know this dude? I don't even know who that fucking is.
Yeah.
Guy. So when during my first marriage, my wife, like it was only 4 years long, but we were together, I think, a total of like 5 and a bit. She got mad so often because every time we would go out, I'd see someone I knew, and like that would drive her crazy. I'm like, it's not like we were in a city of 400,000 people. It's not like, But I'm like, and we would just go to a random mall, and I'm like, oh, hey, man. Like, oh, hey, what's up? We should get a coffee. And I was like, we have shit to do. Can we go? And I'm like, naturally, the marriage didn't last. But it was also, it's a very, people don't believe you. And then you're like, yeah, no, it's fucking.
My wife found that very funny whenever, like, because when she moved here, and like we'd go to another city, and they're like, oh, John, and or no, actually the weirdest one was literally, so I met my wife in Belfast, and literally 2 houses up from her on the same street, I was walking out of her house, and I hear somebody else coming to the door go, John Ruddy, and I was like, oh my God. So this was someone who I had known all my teenage years. I played in the Donegal Youth Orchestra with them. And they were just like, what are you doing here? It's like, I'm dating a girl in that house. And they're like, no way. And it's just like.
Sounds like that in Houston and in here now in Cleveland. Just, I don't know what it is. I know everyone knows me, and they all, Cole, what's going on, man? I'm like, God damn it, man. Like, a comedian buddy of mine saw me at the grocery store the other day, and I was like, God damn it. No, mind you, he's a very good friend of mine, but I just wasn't in a position to say hi. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be out and about when I'm not supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, I just was trying to get my groceries and go. You know what I mean? He came up to me, how's the kiddo? I'm like, he's good. How's yours? He's like, they're good. I'm like, all right, well, bye, man. And just walked out. Like, I'm not a social person. I don't understand why so many people love me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my thing,
Question for historians. John, you'll cover it in a few months, maybe. Anyways, do we go to the last one or what?
Before we do that, last for all 4 of us, which is your first time.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, I'll cover mine. It was Cammy. I lost in the woods.
It was in the woods.
Yeah.
In the woods. That's I waited till marriage. It was uncomfortable, tricky to figure out, but we did do it, and it was in a hotel. That's it.
It was in a hotel. You've been rich your whole fucking life. Fuck you, Dino.
My whole life, and it's been fantastic. It's been great.
I'm gonna get rich one day. I'm gonna rub it in your face.
Nah, I'll be richer. It's fine.
Was it 18? Yeah, I think it was 18. Or was it 19? 18 or 19. And it was my girlfriend at the time. And although what really sucked about it, so it was only a couple of weeks after I had surgery on. Does anybody know what a pilonidal sinus is?
No.
We're all hairy men here. You have at least one.
Not Irish for penis?
No, it's not. And so, pilonidal sinus is, and there's probably at least one other person watching who hear that, and they're like, oh. So pilonidal sinus is an ingrown hair, and
are those,
yeah,
you have surgery for this?
Where the hair is growing out of the skin, but then like gets caught in a pore,
right.
It starts growing back in, and it gets inflamed, and it gets infected, and it fills up with an abscess of pus.
Gross.
And I had that on what I always liked to say, on my lower back. And by lower back, it was on my ass. It was like right between the cheeks.
You have hair on your ass?
Oh man, yeah.
That's that Irish shit, man.
No.
Yeah. Do you not have hair on your ass?
Look at his face.
Most of the hair is on my head and on my face. I don't really have much hair anywhere else. It's pretty crazy. Like, look, this is
He's
like,
lying.
look at this. This is it. That's it.
That's all you got? Fair enough.
It grows that way.
Yeah, you
There's
go.
nothing.
I was not expecting to see nipples in this podcast, but there you go.
He's like if you took an adult head and put it on like a Ken doll.
Yeah. Oh look, now your camera has gone
fat one.
Focus.
Yeah.
It's your camera got embarrassed. It's like,
it's like, come on, Cole. Again. This isn't OnlyFans.
Okay, that already sounds painful. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just a couple of weeks before that, I had surgery on it too, because it had gotten super infected. It was basically this golf ball on my backside that felt like I was
Jesus Christ.
on a sharp knife. It was so painful. It was really, really infected. And so I had just had surgery on that a couple of weeks beforehand. And myself and my girlfriend, we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff had led to the
She didn't try to finger you, did she?
the
Oh
ultimate
my
stuff.
God, Cole, shut up.
And all the while I had this big giant plaster, big giant like Band-Aid on my ass crack that was like really tender, really, really tender. And so that kind of put a bit of a dampener on the whole experience. But
Like just forever? Like every experience?
oh
Or
no,
just
no.
the one?
I ultimately did it again, and I got very good at it.
Well, I hope so, because I lost with the kid for years, right?
I
So
got very good at it. Or I got very good at what I do. And know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and you go from there. But yeah, no, that was my first time, and it was like it was, all of the discomfort was very much mine. She was lovely.
All right, I guess we'll finish up with Atlas.
Yeah. So
Atlas hasn't had sex yet.
No, I was 19 and like did the thing where, how like in all the movies we're like, oh yeah, we parked our car on Makeout Point, and then doing it in a car fucking sucks.
Yeah, bro,
it's awful.
You don't got to repeat yourself with that one.
I brought a big blanket so we could like cover both of us, because like
No.
you don't need like one butt cheek against the glass or something. And
don't know, and not even the whole thing, just some of the stuff.
Yeah,
I've done in the car.
Yeah,
One,
totally.
and I was like, what is the bit? Like, why do people do this?
And shower sex too.
Yeah,
like
shower sex isn't
that's
funny
how you
either.
pass out and die, and people find you.
Impractical.
Like,
Can you imagine if you're having shower sex and you fall and like, there's no way people aren't getting called to the ambulance. Like, there's an ambulance.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a great way to
punch your
crack
head
up
open,
right
bleed to
there.
death, and people find you. You're like, well, we know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Fucking whores.
Yep.
But
Well,
yeah, no, it is very funny. Like and don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people who like love all of the kind of mad adventure stuff, but like I've gotten very vanilla.
Yeah.
What?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, for the simple fact that, hey man, it's great whether it's good or it's bad. So just try your hardest, have a good time, and that's
It's like
okay.
pizza. Even when it's bad, it's
Make
still
sure
kind
the
of
other
okay.
person's having a good time as well.
Absolutely.
I was having
Hey,
this talk with somebody
receive-
not too long ago where it's like I'm just not always just happy to be involved, and that is exhausting for all these fucking like freaks in the world that I've had sex with, where they just want to shove shit in me and like pinch things and set the house on fire, and it's just like, can we just have normal, just happy missionary sex every once in a while? Like,
It's like a palate
Jesus, why does it hurt? Anyway, Atlas, continue your story.
No, that was it. It was just in a car and very awkward. That's it.
And then the steering wheel came out.
Oh, like the Tesla? Yeah.
Jesus.
Y'all in cars and hotels and like medical care. Fuck all of you people. I couldn't even afford a roof over my head to have sex in when I lost my virginity. This is bullshit.
Guy goes into the doctor's with a steering wheel down his trousers. The doctor said, "What's that?" He's like, "I don't know, but it's driving me nuts."
I've heard
Anyways, okay. Where can everyone find you and follow you, please?
You can find me at John D Ruddy on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Who uses Facebook anymore? I mean, it's
for
fine.
Messenger. That's kind of it at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, have you seen this bullshit now on Instagram where you can put a note up at the top? It's like they're like trying to put stories at the top of Instagram Messenger, and it's like, Mark, stop reinventing features and pretending it's new on other platforms. Like you've already reinvented MMORPGs. Like and go,
Yeah.
oh, we've spent like $1,200 billion recreating what people have been playing for the last
for 20 years, probably. Yeah.
You know, and it's and at least Weavers, they had legs. You know, what is he doing? Oh my God, it is. Oh, the last year has shown us anything, which I have partially reveled in, is people really beginning to realize how the likes of the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Elon Musks have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And all of their money and clout have just gotten them into the positions that they're in. And when they're left to their own devices, they've got zero creativity, zero actual knowledge, and not knowledge of how the bigger picture works. And Elon Musk literally thought that he could go in and run Tesla by himself and fire half of the people and then go, oh, this is hard, actually. It's just like, what did you expect?
Hey, that's nothing has bred completely foolhardy people than wealth and power. It's people have, as soon as they have that, you're like, oh, they are unqualified to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
But
then on top of that, you've got like the entire fan base around them who are living vicariously through them, going, oh, you should do this with your money, because they're like, well, I'm never going to have $1 billion trillion. So we know that you take our suggestions, and they're like, hey, why don't you buy that football club? Hey, why don't you do this? Hey, why don't you do that? And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Thanks, friends. And they're like, oh, cool.
See, here's the thing. I always love it when you find out like a superpower of any type, person, country, or whatever is a complete laughing stock, because then it's like, that's not a threat anymore. That never really was. We just thought it was. You know what I mean? Like, there was a point, I think in like 2018, where we thought that Elon Musk had the ability to become like the Green Goblin. You know what I mean? And then like Russia was like, we're gonna go. We've been afraid of them for like 40 years, and then they can't even really go to war with Ukraine. You know what I mean? Like,
or Finland, or Japan, or
like, flip side of that.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, even though yes, it is hilarious, and Elon Musk is completely inept at basically doing anything now. But what he's doing with Twitter, you know, like where you're sitting, ha 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 ha. But if he really wanted to, he could shut down Twitter completely. And if Mastodon and Hive and all those other shit Twitters have shown, they're nothing in comparison, you know?
I agree. And like, Atlas was like one of the first people I knew personally who was like, Twitter's about to fall off. And I was like, nah, come on, it's not a thing.
You were right.
And I think you were right, honestly, because like I've been losing followers like every fucking day, and I don't think it's because of my content. I think it's just people are getting like just leaving, like, you know what I mean, just not wanting to be on there anymore. So
do you remember, you know, like, so what age are you?
I'll be 29 here in a couple months.
29. So like, do you remember when the internet, the tail end of when the internet was a Wild West? You know,
kind of like are you talking about like the Pam and Tommy days? Because like, I don't really remember that.
Well, not even that, like even pre-Facebook, you know.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, that's when I started watching porn.
Homestar Runner.
Yeah.
E-Bombs World.
Right.
You know,
which
like,
is still awesome.
Where you had to go into different websites to find different things, and this, you know, whereas like, and don't get me wrong, like the likes of YouTube have streamlined a lot of things, and hey, I make some of my income from oh, by the way, also, if anyone wants to find me and help support me, patreon.com/John D Ruddy.
There you go.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But yeah, like, it has kind of streamlined it, but there was this kind of a, and part of it is rose tinted glasses, part of it is nostalgia glasses of the kind of halcyon days of the internet. But there has been there has been a significant kind of shrinking of the internet where, yeah, sure, other websites exist, but who the fuck goes into the websites when you can do it through Facebook or when you can do it through YouTube or when, and it's like you go into these specific apps now and yeah, you'll go into a website if you have to, but you're not wandering in and trying to find things anymore.
You're just it's the difference is you're receiving content instead of going out and searching. So, which God, John, I really want to keep on talking with you, but I actually
I've been keeping you going here now.
At Generation Dan, Twitter, Instagram, at Atlas Novak, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Dino the Genetic Marvel, fucking everywhere, at Sniffing Blue 22, fucking everywhere.
I am everywhere. I'm not fucking everywhere, honey. I love you.
I'm fucking everywhere.
Well, you're in Mexico, so that's anyway. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much,
guys.
Jersey, hi.
Hold on. Give me 1 second, you bastards. Hold on. I gotta buzz.
Oh, Mike, come on, hit the button.